let's jump right into this explainer. When we talk about the 2026 World Cup, the conversation almost always defaults to the usual powerhouses, right? But today, we're breaking down 5 massive reasons why Portugal has the absolute perfect anatomy to secure their first ever FIFA World Cup victory. Seriously, when you dig into the data, this roster, and the incredible circumstances surrounding this specific squad, you realize a massive, historic upset might be brewing right in front of us.
And look, we gotta start with the absolute biggest storyline in global sports right now. We all watched Lionel Messi conquer the world in 2022. So the looming question is, can a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo finally match that ultimate legacy in what is definitely going to be his final tournament appearance? I mean, a 6th World Cup appearance. That level of longevity is literally staggering. This is the narrative that's going to dominate every headline, and honestly, it's the engine driving this entire Portuguese campaign.
So to figure out if they can actually pull this off, we're going to break this down into 5 key pillars. The Ronaldo factor, flying under the radar, a generational midfield, their high-scoring offense, and finally, Martinez's last dance. Let's get into it.
Pillar number 1, the ultimate Ronaldo factor, and his chase for the greatest of all-time title. You really have to consider the sheer, undeniable motivation driving Cristiano right now. Think about it. This guy has fundamentally transformed the global game. He brought unprecedented eyeballs and, massive investment to the Saudi Pro League, basically shifting the landscape of an entire continent. But despite all those shiny club trophies and individual accolades, the furthest he's ever gone in a World Cup is the semifinals. No final match. Ever. For a guy who firmly believes he's the absolute best to ever lace up a pair of boots, watching his ultimate rival lift that trophy in 2022, that means his internal hunger to win it all in 2026 is off the charts. Whether he's starting up front or coming off the bench as a high-impact sub, having that intense, historic drive in your locker room is a completely unquantifiable advantage. Moving on to Pillar 2, flying under the radar, and the incredible power of lowered expectations. Now, if you look at the media landscape today, Portugal is shockingly not the top favorite. All the public pressure and that intense, suffocating scrutiny is sitting squarely on the shoulders of France, England, and Spain. But for Portugal, flying under the radar like this is actually a massive gift. It means way less external pressure weighing down the squad. But make no mistake, the internal reality is wildly different from the external narrative. You look around their training pitch and you literally see world-class talent at every single position. Since they aren't carrying the burden of being the overwhelming heavy favorites, this roster is quietly building an unbreakable internal belief. They know exactly how good they are, even if the pundits are busy looking elsewhere. But hey, the odds makers, they know exactly what's up. Despite being overlooked by casual fans, Portugal is actually sitting as the 4th shortest favorite to win the whole shebang at 8-1. That actually gives them better odds than the defending champions Argentina, who are sitting at plus 950. To put that in perspective, the smart money completely recognizes the sheer depth and world-class quality of this Portuguese roster. And that quiet but intense drive, it's perfectly captured if you visit their state-of-the-art infrastructure over in Lisbon. It's this world-class facility, and they proudly display every single piece of memorabilia from their storied history. You walk those halls and you see literally every trophy imaginable. Except one. There's this glaring empty space right where the World Cup should be. The players walk past that void every single day. That missing piece of hardware is a constant, silent motivator for a squad that genuinely believes their generational talent and top-tier infrastructure are finally perfectly aligned to claim it. Which brings us to Pillar 3, a generational midfield trio acting as the absolute engine of the team. All that motivation translates into a flawless tactical combination on the pitch. We're talking about arguably the best world-class midfield in the sport right now. On one side, you've got the phenomenal Paris Saint-Germain connection of João Neves and Vitinha. These two have absolutely dominated European football over the last couple of years. They're back-to-back Champions League powerhouses who are just masters at controlling the tempo of a match. Now, take that elite control and pair it perfectly with Bruno Fernandes. He's the dynamic, creative force who recently smashed the English Premier League assist record. So you have the ultimate controllers paired with an elite chance creator. It's a sensational trio of generational talents that can dictate the flow of literally any game. All right, Pillar 4, their high-scoring offensive juggernaut, and turning all those chances into goals. So what happens when you combine the best midfield in the tournament with seasoned veterans and world-class finishers? Well, you get 20.
That is the staggering number of goals Portugal scored just in their qualifying matches. 20 goals. It's an unbelievable stat that proves this team isn't just about passing the ball around. They are an absolute offensive juggernaut that knows exactly how to put the ball in the back of the net.
And the reason they're so lethal is the sheer variety of weapons they have at their disposal. You've got incredible talents like Gonzalo Ramos leading the line up front, and the super dynamic Nuno Mendes pushing aggressively from the left back position. And by the way, that adds even more of that dominant PSG chemistry to the national squad. Because of this mix of midfield vision and attacking speed, this squad knows exactly how to break down deep, stubborn defensive blocks. But they're equally lethal when exploiting quick turnovers on a breakaway. As you get into those high-drama knockout stages where goals are notoriously scarce, Portugal's proven ability to score in bunches is going to be a massive separator. It's exactly the kind of firepower you need to survive a grueling World Cup run.
And finally, Pillar 5, Martinez's last dance, the managerial climax of this entire campaign. Now, this is where the emotional stakes of the tournament literally go through the roof. In a massive breaking development, right before the team was set to step onto the pitch, it was announced that this upcoming run will be Roberto Martinez's final tournament as the head coach of the Portuguese national team. He's stepping down after this campaign is over. And that adds a fascinating layer of urgency to everything we've just talked about. Martinez brings elite man management skills and deep international experience, right? We saw that during his time managing Belgium's golden generation. He recognized a unique opportunity here with Portugal and has done a superb job steering the ship. So the pressing question now is, will his impressive 40-game helm culminate in the ultimate historical send-off? Will these players rally to give their manager and, of course, their legendary captain the absolute ultimate farewell gift?
It definitely helps that their path out of the group stage is highly favorable. They open things up against Congo, followed by a battle with Uzbekistan, before hitting their toughest group stage test against Colombia. This schedule is incredibly advantageous for them. It gives this loaded roster the perfect amount of time to gel, build momentum, and fine-tune that potent offense. It really sets the perfect stage for a deep, dramatic, and well-rested knockout run.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. When you take a step back and look at the whole picture, Ronaldo's absolute, unwavering drive to cement his legacy, a generational midfield controlling the pitch, state-of-the-art infrastructure backing them up, and the distinct psychological advantage of flying under the radar without the crushing weight of being the top favorite, I mean, all the pieces are right there on the table. So I have to ask you, is the world truly ready for a Portuguese coronation? Thanks for hanging out with me for this deep dive, and for sure, keep your eyes on this squad.